So many games, all on your phone. So many games, get in the zone. So many games, on your tablet. So many games, you got to have it. So many games.
Hello, welcome to Achievement Hunting 101, the premier podcast that tells you what to game, how to game, and when to do it.
Oh, so refreshing.
Why?
Do I tell people how to game? I don't know.
It's a collective we, because you are part of us.
Shocked face.
My name is Corey, but you can call me Rocker. Only Prue can call me Rocks. And with me are Big L.
Yellow.
Hello. KooshMoose.
Hello.
Hello, Koosh. And this week is not Kenny again. He is enjoying his time off. We have brought back Matrarch.
Hello.
Hello. I'm glad that you could join us today.
I'm glad to be here today.
All right, let's kick it off. We do have a packed show with some big news that, as all good podcasts do, record, and then the big news drops right after it. So get ready for some console news coming up shortly. But first, the game showcase. Nate, tell me about GoNNER.
Yes. So, one of my favorite podcasts a couple weeks ago mentioned that GoNNER was going away on the 15th. So I just had to go in and get it done. Now, I know that when GoNNER first came out, there were a lot of people that were interested on the Discord in the daily runs. So like when you were trying to get specific weapons, I think actually when the solution came out, or at least when the solution became popular for how good the scythe was, on the Discord, people were saying, oh, today, if you go today, you'll get the shark fin backpack, or you'll get the whatever, or it's a really easy day to do the 20 bounces on, without touching the ground. So I had already dove this game. I had already picked up a lot of achievements, enough to make it to the point where, yeah, I should probably continue with this game. And then, I put it down and did, numerous other things. But when the alert came in and said, this thing is going away, I said, yes, I totally need to play that. And then I didn't. And I went and I played some other things instead, and then came back with about 2 or 3 days to spare, and really started focusing on GoNNER. And I, by the skin of my teeth, finished it last night. I think it was last night. Yeah, it was last night around midnight or 1, something like that, Eastern time.
Go away.
So when you were rocking those hymno reflexes?
Yeah. No, it wasn't quite that late. It was
Okay.
about an hour or two shy of that, I think. So it was about 1:30 or so in the morning. Got it done. I was getting a little worried. I had been playing on my PC or through my system that streams through my PC, and the lag on the last level was killing me. So the way it works, as you get 5 kills in short turn between kills, you keep that streak up, you'll get a sigil, and you can sell that sigil at a shop, which is typically the 4th level per map that you're going through. And you can buy hearts back. So when you're having a hard time, you can refill your hearts in the shops if you collect these sigils. So going into the very last level, or the very last world, called Death World, it's crazy town. It's totally crazy town. But they're throwing guys at you left and right, so you can get a lot of kills, you can get a lot of sigils, so that if you make it to the shop, you can refill your hearts almost certainly. So I was sitting there just killing a whole bunch of stuff, and I think that was the problem. I think I just killed too many enemies. And only on that level, there are these big floaty enemies that come back as ghosts. So they only count as kills the first time you kill them, and they're a darker, more solid color. When they come back as ghosts, they're a lighter color, and I don't think they contribute to your streak. So I had been farming for way too long, and I think I had too many enemies on the screen, and it totally locked up. And I had a really good run going that time, so I had to just bail. I then went out to my living room and played there, and it still took me, I don't know, another 5 runs to get the one that actually just worked. And I got at the very end, I got the achievement for killing the last boss. I got the achievement for finding a secret off the screen after you kill the last boss, and then I got also the achievement for a deathless run. So the first time I killed the boss happened to be my deathless run. And when you're killing that last boss, it's a very long room, and it's kind of like a slow step down. And when you get to the very bottom of those stairs, there's a skeleton in the corner, and you have to touch that. If you kill the boss too quickly, that's a good thing. But when you're trying to get the achievement, that's a bad thing because it won't let you go touch that skeleton. The only other time, I think I only made it to the boss 3 times. The very first time I made it to the boss, I was able to go down, touch that skeleton, get the achievement, and then I died immediately after. Second time was a fail, and the third time was I just happened to get lucky. One of the solutions said to use the lightning gun. The very first thing I read in the walkthrough said use the shotgun, but the lightning gun ended up being so much better.
So I have a question or two for you. Now, I didn't start GoNNER at all, so I feel no obligation to play this now that it is out of Game Pass. But 2 questions. First of all, the completion estimate on TA is 4 to 5 hours. But my understanding, right, is a lot of this is dependent on those daily tasks that come up, and if you're fortunate to have them cycle. So, like, if you were to sit down and play this game in one day, is 4 to 5 hours even reasonably possible?
If I had already beaten the game and gotten all the achievements, I could probably go back and maybe beat the game in 4 hours.
So I'll give you my credentials then?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be able to do that then. But no, it's anyone saying 4 to 6 or whatever is, they're a little high on themselves, I think.
Okay, so that said, next question. The top review of the game on TA is, quote, one of the worst games I've ever played. Where do you fall on this?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree where he's coming from. When you look at the game, it looks horrible. And when you're moving through the game, it's weird. They make some weird design choices. You can't see the entire level. So as you're, a lot of platformers and a lot of doing well in platformers is dependent upon picking your path through the level. And you only can see around you in kind of like a halo. And as you get close to walls, they'll kind of like fly in and make a solid wall that you can jump on. So that part's pretty cool, but it's a weird decision. And it's also very hard to figure out the game because it doesn't tell you anything. Like all of the weapons are just pictures of a weapon. The gun is a vertical line. The shotgun is a slightly thicker vertical line. The lightning gun looks like a weird German weird German letter. The laser gun looks like a slightly less fancy German letter. So everything is very obtuse and it's not explained. There's no text. You have to figure everything out. So yeah, first blush, the game is horrible. Why did they make this thing? But the more you play it, the more I really liked it.
It sounds like you're describing roguelite as a genre for the most part.
Well, yeah, but some roguelites do a good job of explaining what you're doing. Like, there's no explanation that tells you, oh, if you kill 5 enemies within a certain amount of time between each kill, you get this sigil. They just kind of show up and you're just kind of like, oh, well, why is that happening? And then if you're going for the 50 streak or the 100 streak of kills without breaking the streak, the screen starts shaking and colors start going weird. And, it gets very weird as you're working towards that. But there's nothing that tells you anything about that unless you're looking at the achievements. That's the only thing where there's text in this game that kind of helps you to figure that out.
So now that the price, now that it's off Game Pass, is $9.99, is it safe to assume you wouldn't recommend getting it unless you're someone that might need to complete it now that it's on your tag?
Yeah, and when it goes on sale, it'll be $5, right? So
most
probably.
Likely,
yeah, it's not a bad price. And there's supposed to be a GoNNER 2, which I'm excited about. Sorry, Elle. I stole your question. So if GoNNER 2 ever does come out, I would assume that there's going to be a GoNNER sale at the same time.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask about GoNNER 2 as well. It's supposed to come out this year. And let's say that it comes out and it's $10 as well. Maybe $15. Let's say $15. Brand new game. Would you buy GoNNER 2 at $15?
No, because I have a pretty good feeling it's coming to Game Pass at some point.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. So it's by Raw Fury is the publisher. Some of their other games you might have noted: Dandara, Star Renegades, Nightcall, West of Dead. All of those are in Game Pass, so I would definitely suspect that the sequel will come eventually.
Yep.
But are you excited to play a sequel to GoNNER?
Maybe not next week, but when it eventually comes out, yeah, possibly. I think roguelite is becoming one of my, definitely not my favorite genre, but it's in my top 7.
Yeah, I've noticed. You're starting to worry me.
Yeah.
Well, Corey, remember last year was really pushing for this to be the year of the roguelite, so maybe we can get some traction for that once the year of the RPG expires.
I'm down.
Whoa.
I'm less down, but would do.
All right, first of all, I have a food-related question. Why is this game called GoNNER Blueberry Edition? Guess is as good as mine.
Because he's blue.
Okay.
I don't know. There's weird
I'm guessing
accents
it's
on it. I don't know.
All right, anyway. When you did the combo, you went through normally? Because I know there was a solution to do the hidden room in the first area. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I'm horrible at that hidden room. I'm just garbage. I maybe get one sigil out of that room. I cannot stay afloat hitting things. So no, I skipped that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I played this game. I started it, I guess, the same as you when there was a daily challenge. I can't believe it was almost a year ago already. It was back in November 2019 to get the floor is lava, 20 enemies in a row, jumping on 20 enemies in a row. I mean, this game is the epitome of a Game Pass bump.
Oh, yeah.
16,000 people started this game. What are you all crazy?
Yeah,
it has
and look at all
really
the-
easy TA when G-Task is going on.
Look at how many people have these achievements. 400, 500, 600. It's insane.
I mean, it's deceptive. Like, you think like, okay, that's not so bad. And then you hit that wall where you actually have to try a bit and you have to get good at the game. And once you get good at the game and you kind of understand the systems, then getting that 50 is not so bad. At first, I couldn't get 50. I went multiple times. I was like, this is impossible. But then as I'm going for the 100, I'm getting 50 every time. And then as I'm playing the game after I've got the 100, which took me a whole bunch of tries as well, I'm constantly finding myself stopping from keeping my streak going because the screen is getting way too colorful and way too shaky. I'm like, this is annoying. Like, stupid 50 streak is right around the corner. Yeah.
So to go back and answer Elle's first question, sorry to cut you off, but the Blueberry Edition, just to clarify, because Steam has cool information like this, it was an update to the game. It added weapons, heads, enemy types, a new challenge, and it also claims, yes, there are blueberries, but I don't know what that means. So, new world, fishes and blueberries. So that's what it sounds like. Like but we didn't see that version.
Yeah.
By the time it came out to Game Pass, it was already updated. But just to clarify that it was different. It did add some new stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to complete it before I left Game Pass. I got the 50 combo when it appeared on my RTDL a couple months ago, and it didn't stick with it. But this month I had the one for beating the 4th level, the Robot World, I think, and I couldn't even beat the 3rd level. Oh no, excuse me, the 4th level is the Shoot World, but I couldn't beat the Robot World, the 3rd level. So I gives up. And we were talking to Freem last night, actually, and he said he got up to the last boss and died on the last boss, so he gave up too, I think.
Yeah. The last boss is, to learn the mechanics of it, it's a little bit different than everything else. So it's like you're almost guaranteed to lose your first time.
Yeah. So when Freem listens to this in about 7 months, GoNNER 2 Raspberry Edition will definitely be out.
Well, I have a game that is new, so it's definitely not leaving anytime soon or being delisted or getting a sequel. But the game in question is called Bounty Battle. So this is a new game. It just came out at the end of August. And it, on paper, sounds amazing. Unfortunately, the character selection screen is the best part of the game.
Oh, no.
So Bounty Battle is a mix between like a standard 2D fighting game and Smash Brothers. And it's the key part about it is that it takes indie characters from many different games. Most of them are really good games, a lot of favorites for myself. And it puts these characters into this world, and they're kind of like battling to control this universe. The story is very vague. So far, you only get a glimpse of it through the opening cutscene. I have not seen any other story to it. It's local multiplayer only, no online. It has a tournament mode that, unless it was bugged, I could not switch characters, and I was stuck with a bounty battle original character that I had to complete that tournament for, and I could not beat like the 4th out of 5th stage. It was way too hard. It was a 1v2 match, and I had to knock them off like maybe 5 times. Could not do it. And it also has regular single player versus bots, and then again the local versus mode, and that's about it. As far as the fighting goes, you have to manage your health and your mana, which is used for some attacks. You have to manage your bounty, which you get bounty points for performing different moves. But if you perform the same move multiple times, you get less and less, and you might even lose them. I can't remember. The problem is that the game is like minimal combinations, which is not suit a fighter. Like you can like hit X and Y, and you can hit them in a direction, and that's about it. There's no crazy combinations you have to do. If you have enough bounty bucks or whatever, you can do like their little quote unquote super move that doesn't do much. You can bring a sidekick out, which is kind of like the Smash part about it. But guess what? That sidekick does jack squat. it just like I was playing the SteamWorld Dig Guy. Spoiler alert, you get the SteamWorld Dig Guy, and there's a SteamWorld Dig Girl who pops out as a sidekick. She was like walking around with me. She was doing absolutely nothing in this fight. So she was completely useless. So like I said, unfortunately, it is not a great fighter, but it does have some amazing characters. So we're talking Juan from Guacamelee is in there. You
Sold.
Have yeah, that was like my thing right there. Hollow Knight boy's in there. Owl boy's in there. This blasphemous boy, pointy boy there is in there. You have some Axiom Verge lab dude, because I haven't played the game, so I can't say who he is. And of course, I'm mentioning all the Vayner people first.
Don't forget Koosh's favorite.
Who's your favorite?
Dead Cell.
It's the Dead Cell. It's the human from Dead Cell.
It's
Dead totally
That's not a
not
Vayner. So,
yeah.
So yeah, Dead Cell's in there, and then some others. They each have like their own stage, which that's cool. But like I said, it's a very poor fighter game. Probably the worst fighter that I have played in recent memory. Definitely on the Xbox One. I'm very disappointed in it. I probably hyped it up too much in my head because I love all of these characters, and I love collaborations and crossovers. So this was like the perfect game for me, and unfortunately it just fell flat. As far as the achievements goes, it's going to be like just your standard fighting grind. It actually doesn't look terrible, and some people have completed it. The worst part about it is completing the tournament mode for everybody. But apart from that, you just need to like KO and eject 1,000 opponents. But you can do that in versus mode, and like I said, you just stand up your nephew and an idle controller and go to town, and you can easily get it. So as far as the achievements go, it's not terrible if you can like figure out this tournament mode. Other than that, I can't really recommend the game. It's a $25 game at that. Launch discount of $20, but I'm sure that's going to go away soon. Even then, I would have to stay clear of that. So sorry to bring the bad news.
So
to you,
sad.
You've played GoNNER, or at least dabbled in GoNNER, Corey.
I did. I gave it 2 hours according to TA. It's probably right. I still couldn't tell you anything about the game in 2 hours, but yeah, I did play it.
Okay, so GoNNER, which we've already established is the worst game that somebody's played ever, has a TA rating of like 2.9 or so. Bounty Battle has a 1.3 overall. So is Bounty Battle actually the worst game you've ever played?
No, like that might be Soda Drinker Pro, but it might it's down there for sure.
4 votes.
Yeah, I haven't voted for it. I don't really rate stuff on TA. I'm surprised to see that it has almost 100 starters, 87 as of right now. I can't really see them getting much more. It's this, as far as I can tell, it's the studio's first game, and it was published by Merge Games, which makes good games. So I think the concept is there, but they lack in the execution.
I'm loving this art style.
It's just not good. And I like the art style too.
Yeah.
Like
it's like the art style of Battle Chasers Night War,
which are in that game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like that seems
Yeah.
to be the style that they took as kind of like the main style.
All the ingredients are there for a very fun experience.
Well, do you think this is a game that could be salvageable with updates down the line? I don't know if they're planning to support it, but if they did, could that redeem it?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I definitely updates could help the game. Just fighting other characters, you can just tell when a game feels good and when it doesn't feel good. And this game doesn't feel good. Surely that they could update the hitboxes and maybe add a little bit more depth to the combo system. I think you have to manage too much. I don't really care for this bounty system, and I don't care for the mana too much, although it's not too far-fetched. But they could definitely do some updates with that. And like I said, the tournament mode, like you just don't really get much. They don't tell you much, so I think that can be fleshed out. And then the last bit is if they added online, that would help tremendously as well. But as it is right now, it is really early, but it's going to be hard for me to say that they will probably update the game. I kind of looked at reviews from other sites, and it's not getting the good press.
So you're saying for folks that are participating in this month's Chewy's Challenge Championship sponsored event with Chesno, right? The Shiba Dojo Punch Club, which is just a fighting game tournament. This is not a game that you would recommend the folks that are involved in that play?
I mean, if they want some easy gamer score and they can like endure pain, which I know that this group can, they might want to hit it up. All of my points are from this game, but I can't pull myself to do that anymore these days.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. So
I'm strangely drawn to it.
Yeah, I know you are. Koosh. I know you are.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, I could play as Juan. I could play as Dead
what
Cell.
would
Biscuit
be
Dead Cell.
your sale price to pick up a game that has 2 characters you really like in it, but is otherwise basically unplayable?
Yeah, not 20. That's for sure.
Yeah, it would be tough. It would be tough. I like knowing that like it's just a straight grind, at least for the achievements. I don't even know if I could do it. I would rather I think I could watch a video and be satisfied, but
You could be playing Wakapeil, my friend.
You know what? I started that. I started a hard campaign on Wakapeil 1.
Ooh.
I need to finish that series up, and that actually started a couple weeks ago. I haven't gone back to it, but it's such a good game. One game I don't know about is Black the Fall. Can you tell me about Black the Fall, Elle?
I can. I definitely can because I played it.
That's good. I have access to it and have never played it.
See, Black the Fall is Limbo-esque a genre at this point?
Sure.
I would say so.
I would classify it as one.
It's a puzzle platformer, or so it says. I guess that's accurate. Every screen, you basically need to figure out how to progress and get off of that screen. Now, the title of the game confuses me. I'm not quite sure what it means. The black is very accurate. The game is very dark. There is one section a little later on where you wind up going outside and you're like, whoa, this looks really nice. But that's a very short-lived moment. I was surprised to see that it was Square Enix that published it. It was developed by Sailor Studio. I never heard of them. I don't think they've done anything else. I don't have much to say about it. I tried to do it by myself, but I definitely got stuck a lot. So I went over to Macca's guide, Teehee, and Macca's guide says, "Oh, an hour and a half. Oh, you'll get the completion." Yeah, okay. So I tried to do each screen by myself, and then I consulted either the video guide or the TA walkthrough, and it was just, the whole thing took probably 4 or 5 hours, honestly. It took quite a bit. But that's because I was trying to figure stuff out. Now, there's a part later on where you wind up with a little robot friend. That was my favorite part of the game. You get him to help you out with the puzzles. It kind of reminded me of the little, the doggy in Valiant Hearts. He's my little buddy. I won't tell you what happens to him later on. Oh my God. But, I don't know. The sound design was very good. I wanted to say there's this one part where they give you little clues throughout, and there was a picture of headphones. So you're supposed to put on your headphones, and the screen is dark, completely black, and you have to listen, and the fountain goes on and off. And when the fountain goes off, you have to run past it, and then you have to listen for the next one. So that was cool. One thing I have to say is that the final achievement in the game did not pop for me last night when I played it. Luckily, there is a chapter select, so I went back and redid that whole section today, and it did pop this time. I would have been very annoyed if there was no chapter select and I had to go through the whole game again for that achievement. And then this game has another weird achievement for going on the bike at the very beginning of the game, and you have to hold down the X button for about 15 minutes to get another achievement. Another 100G achievement. Just a strange game. There's some missables, but you can play it on your own and do the chapter select if you miss anything. Anyone else play this? Did he?
Oh, I did. And I have commentary. So I'm going to share it now. Black the Fall, I think you're kind of selling it short a little bit. I think similar to Limbo, the game doesn't force feed its story to you. Like, it's called Black the Fall because the character you're playing, his name is Black, and the whole game is sort of a story about communism and the fall of communism and communist ideals. So there's more to it than that, and I think... Like, I know you played this game pretty straight, right? Like, this wasn't something where you started it months ago because you got an achievement this month, so you played through the whole thing, right?
Yes, correct. Took about a week, but yes, I didn't put it down for significant lengths of time.
I think similar to Limbo and Inside, it's the kind of game where playing with the achievements in mind hurts it. Like, the achievement list is built almost exactly like Limbo Inside. There are a couple of story achievements, but a lot of it's for finding things as you go through. So if you're playing just looking for those things and to the chapter select, you're not paying attention to what it's trying to get you to see, because the story is not told in words. It's told in sort of like metaphors and things you see in the background that indicate certain things to you, and in obviously in pictures and stuff like that. So I'm not saying Black the Fall is the greatest game ever or anything. And I think if you look at puzzle platformer of this style as a genre, so we're looking at Limbo, Inside, Black the Fall, and like Albert and Otto. Albert and Otto is at the bottom of that scale, and Limbo's at the top of that scale, and Black the Fall is sort of like middle tending upper. I think my opinion of it's a little different than yours, obviously, but I think it sells it a little short to... You know, if you're playing it just for achievements, play it just for achievements. Follow the guide. You'll get it done. My hour counter wound up being 7. I didn't use guides for the game, so it obviously took me quite a bit longer. But I enjoyed it, actually, just as sitting and kind of taking in what the story was trying to tell me without using words.
I mean, kudos to you. I thought it was... Some of the things were kind of hard to figure out, especially in the beginning with that like remote device that you have and figuring out how to point that and get the guys to move around. Just that's why I like the robot stuff better. I've got a better sense of what the game wanted you to do to solve those puzzles.
Corey, you had a thought?
I was going to say, you already know what I'm going to ask. This 2 to 3 hour estimate and your 14-hour tracked game time, how much of that is playtime you think, and how much of it is sleeping?
No, I mean, no. I think it was like maybe 5 or 6 hours or something like that. Definitely. I also found another fun stat. There's a death counter on TA. Did you see that, Michelle?
I didn't, but I'll look at it now.
All right. No, don't look at it. I want to quiz you.
That's not what I came. But go
Who
ahead.
do you think had more deaths, me or you?
I mean, you followed a guide, so probably me.
Incorrect.
Oh, well then.
I didn't follow all the way through, but oh my gosh. Actually, number 1 was Bills. He had about 300 deaths. I had 276 deaths, and you had 220 deaths. So you're actually number 3, right below me on my friends list.
Well then.
Yeah, you will die a lot. Because I was going to say, the other thing, I felt, just the genre, I don't know, it's so much trial and error that you almost have to die to try to figure out what you have to do right. And you can't just like look at the screen and say, oh, I know what I have to do. Sometimes you have to die over and over. Like, okay, let me try this now. Let me try this now. I just don't know if I love the genre. Koosh, did you play this?
I did. I had 181 deaths.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Well then. Aren't you just good at platformers? Whew. This is why you completed GoNNER.
This is a long time ago that I played this. This was 2018, I want to say, is when it looks like I completed it.
Oh, yeah, forever ago.
Yeah, but I was really looking forward to this game, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I was in a kind of a limbo mood, but I didn't want to actually go and do limbo because that game's hard. So, so I was looking for things that I could do that weren't limbo. And now I see I'm confusing this game with Monochroma as well. Have you played that?
I haven't.
No.
It's very similar. It's a puzzle platformer along the lines of Limbo and Black the Fall. And I enjoyed both of those games. But yeah, no, it was good. And then right after that, Albert and Otto, or Albert and Opro, depending on who you're talking to.
Albert and Opro.
But yeah, so I really enjoy these types of games. So when a new one comes out, I'm really into it.
The deal with these games is they're generally good for achievement hunters because the achievements almost always feature chapter select. So you can go in and get the things you need after a playthrough. But achievement hunters generally are bound to find the path of least resistance, get through the game quickly, dive in, dive out for the achievements. And there's nothing wrong with playing that way if that's your preference. But I think games like these are at their best when you really sit with them and take them in for what they're trying to do. Not all of them are good enough to merit that, but I would argue that Black the Fall was.
So I know this game based off the title and the box art, and I know it because it goes on sale quite frequently. It's been on sale at least 5 times this year.
Yes, the Square Enix,
under $5.
the Square Enix games like to go on sale.
That's when I picked it up.
Yeah, and I have about 40 people who have completed the game, so it's not hard. A lot of people have it. For those who don't have it, would you recommend it when it goes on these deep sales under $5?
I mean, it's nice to have a non-Ratalaika, sometimes you game that you can call a quote-unquote easy 1K. But, yeah, I would say at $15, no. At $7.50, it just sounds right.
Okay, under $7.50. So, I mean, at this point, anytime it goes on sale, it's going to be under that for sure.
I think it's been under lately, but...
Yeah, I paid more than that.
It's been $6 at the beginning of the year, and then it's been under $5 every other time. So
that'd be great. I would say 5 or 6. Yeah, you're getting a steal.
Play it, Corey.
Yeah, I'd agree too.
When you said Limbo, you lost me there. Like I just don't want to experience that.
Well, it doesn't have a 5 deaths run or anything like that.
Yeah, it doesn't have that.
I'm not even talking about that. Just that's a very like slow gameplay loop, and I'm done. I don't need to do that. It's way too slow for me.
It is exactly that type of game. Yeah.
You should watch a video.
I think I'm good on that too.
You should watch a speed run
to fall asleep.
Slow games done quick.
All right, let's move on to Michelle. What do you have to spotlight for us this week?
So typically when I get to join you guys, because it's not frequent at this point, I usually have all this stuff that I try to parse down to like 2 things, but really like 7 things I'm trying to talk about within 2 things so as to not overrun the panel. But lately I honestly have been playing more for fun. So most of my playing lately has been lots of Gems of War, Rocket League, games where I either already have all the achievements or am so far away from achievements that that's not really what I'm playing for at this time. That said, I did come up with a couple. So I played recently, probably the game I've spent the most time with that isn't Gems of War or Rocket League is Deleveled. So I streamed this last week. We were lucky enough and fortunate enough to receive a review code from the developer. And it is a puzzle game. I guess it might be a puzzle platformer too, but it's not obviously in the vein of Black the Fall. That might need its own new genre classification at some point. In the game, you have 2 boxes. There's one on the top of a block and one on the bottom of the block. If you move left, both of them move left. If you move right, both of them move right. And it's momentum-based puzzles. So they both start on the top of blocks on opposite sides. You move to the right, they both fall off. Now that they've both fallen off, they hit the middle and they bounce. And there's a line in the middle that separates them. Anytime the 2 boxes touch each other, game over. Anytime one falls off a ledge, game over. And most of the game is about manipulating the boxes so that you press switches and then you finish the level. Deleveled is good at what it does. I liked it. I played the first world actually on stream, and it was super helpful because MDP and Jables are apparently genius level people at playing puzzlers like that. So if I got stuck at something like, just go left. Just go left. And the achievement names are really clever in this game. Each world has 10 levels. One of the levels in that world has a pair of sparkly switches, and those sparkly switches open up a special level, and those are each an achievement. And every one of those sparkly switch achievements is actually a palindrome, just like Deleveled is, right? Same way forward and same way backward. So one of them is Avid Diva. So the achievement names are just super clever, and I enjoy that. All of that said, if you like momentum-based puzzlers, physics-based puzzlers, things like that, it's very minimalistic, but it's good at what it does. I'm one of those folks that I skate through the first 40% and then my brain just turns into pudding and I can't figure out how to solve them anymore. And I hit that line about World 5. So maybe someday I'll stream it again and Jables will just tell me the answers. Or at some point I'm sure someone will come up with a video. Even with a video, it's not going to be an easy completion because there's still a certain degree of actually being able to manipulate the 2 boxes correctly. But I don't think it's going to be impossible to do by any means. It's just going to take some time. But yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. And again, appreciate that we were able to get a copy. It's $10, which is, I actually think, fair if you're into this kind of thing. If you're not so much, half off at $5, again, is fair. It's a good challenge. So if those puzzles are your thing, I would say to go for it.
Well, maybe to make you feel a little better, but as I'm looking at the achievements, they seem to be going in order through the levels, like in terms of what the most often won. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, right. 7, 8, 9, and then it comes around to 5 towards the very end of, achievements that have been earned. So your brain turning to pudding is probably common in World 5.
Well, that's good to know. So each world introduces a new element, right? So the first world introduces you to switches, and then the second world has these walls where you can only pass through them in one direction. So if you try to come back the other direction, you can't come back through. The third world introduces platforms that disappear, and that all affects your momentum, right? Because if one side, the platform disappears, and now that top block falls down to the bottom one, instead of them bouncing at the same time, they're going to bounce in sort of a rhythm with each other. So each one introduced these new elements, and whatever the 5th stage element was, I don't remember right now off the top of my head. I didn't understand it. So I kind of just stopped there. But you can open up the later worlds because opening up worlds is based on the amount of stars you earn. And you earn stars by doing no death runs of each stage. So you could potentially open up later worlds without finishing earlier worlds.
Hey, Corey, quick quiz. What's the 5th element?
Space.
L.
Natasha Hedstridge.
You know it.
I probably should. Hydrogen, helium, oxygen.
Gloria.
His wife's a science teacher, so he's going to go phone a friend.
I wonder if someone's going to win something if they figure this out.
Wink, wink.
Console commands.
Damn it.
If
Foiled
they figure out
again.
what I'm thinking, maybe they'll win something.
I do like some of these achievements, the palindrome achievements, and they seem to strangely gravitate toward L. I prefer pie and desserts, I stressed.
This game definitely is calling out to me, especially right now when I noticed that there are 68 people with this game on. I may have to throw this game on my tag now.
Well, and then there you go, perfectly setting you up for Dr. Awkward, which
Yeah.
is always appropriate.
It also looks like the game is $2 off right now.
It's got the early release discount. It did just come out September 10th, so it's only been out as of this recording 5 days as of when this gets released, about a week. So it's still fairly new. There's one completion, but who knows if that completion is a real completion or a questionable completion. Because beyond the one person who's allegedly completed it, the next highest rated person only has 835 of the game's available 6,173 TA. So it's a little unlikely that that person has done it, but maybe they have. Maybe they're just super good at these kinds of things. There are no guides for the game
I don't know.
yet.
They have less than 4,000 gamer score.
Oh boy.
I call suspect.
Maybe we should submit something to the investigations team so they know what's going on. But yeah, it's again, it's a little hard to explain because it's kind of a little obtuse, but it's solid for what it is. If you like a puzzle game of this nature, especially if it hits a $5 price point, you're good to go.
Yeah, did I say Natasha Henstridge? I was thinking of the Species chick. I always get her confused with Mila Jovovich.
You were much closer. Yep.
I don't know what I was thinking. She's
seen
from
like
Resident Evil. So
15 minutes of that movie. Does that count? No? Well, that's okay.
My friends love The Fifth Element. I was never really into it.
Any updates on your 90% club, Nate?
Yeah, I'll go real quick. I'll go through
I love
it really
that
quickly.
concept, by the way. I totally am going to look through that myself because I know I have a couple good candidates. So good thinking.
See, I could say I recommend it. I could also say I don't recommend it. If you're playing for fun, then yeah, you're gonna love it. If you're playing for achievements and for gamer score, it's really gonna handcuff you. My achievement count and my gamer score count has really gone down. Not that I'm so focused on that these days. What comes will come. But as I'm looking at it, and I'm perhaps in a contest that's going on right now on TA, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, geez, I really need to actually play some games that are going to offer up some achievements here in a couple a day at least, rather than just grinding endlessly on treasure yetis and such. So what I had been playing this week, I talked about it last week, was Blast 'em Bunnies. I wanted to get done. Guess what? Got it done. I had to kill a whole bunch of bosses. Did that. I let my I let my nephew go ahead and kill the rest of the blue bunnies for me, and that got done. I then went ahead and said, you know what, I'm going to knock out Western Press as well. Now, Western Press, if you're not familiar with the game, is basically a QuickTime event, the game. And you are basically just doing a shootout with the computer or with a second player. But let's be honest, I don't have a player two. So I'm just playing against the computer. And you can set it up in such a way that there's only 2 buttons that can be pressed. And no button is allowed to repeat, which means that it's either left trigger, right trigger, or right trigger, left trigger, 15 times or whatever until it's done. That's very easy to, tell the Cronus how to do that, and then get that done. So I knocked out the 50 and the 100 matches, which were the only 2 achievements I had left because I just didn't want to grind them. So that game is off the list now. And then I had talked to my buddy Freem because I noticed that he had some achievements in Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare on the 360 that he never got at the time that those boosts went around. He was missing things like Yeti diamonds, so the ones that drop only from the treasure Yeti. He was missing some vampires from the Vampire Superwave. and he was also missing the Vampire Super Wave. So I think he only had 3 achievements that he needed, whereas I needed level 10, a cumulative level of 50 across all my characters, a couple Yeti treasure or treasure Yeti diamonds, and also killing the treasure Yeti. So he and I went through it. The very first time we went through, we got the treasure Yeti and we started fighting him. I think he dropped maybe 1 diamond for Freem. Freem got the kill. I didn't get the
Vintage Freem.
Luckily, we ran into the water. We still had like a soldier zombie alive, so the wave didn't end. We were able to just jump into the ocean and restart that, but I just couldn't kill it. And then I think we saw it maybe 1 more time, and we never saw the Vampire Super Wave. But we also got him his vampires. That did happen, but not on a Vampire Super Wave. So we were talking about going to do it again, and then I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to watch another video. So I watched a video of someone going and just doing it. And luckily, from all the grinding I had been doing, I unlocked the toxic pea shooter. And that made all the difference. So I just got close to him, because it has basically a damage over time effect of the radiations that when you hit him. And also when you get close to him, he takes damage as well. You don't even have to shoot him. You just have to be near him. And he takes area of effect damage. And basically this guy was just like chasing him around and like staying right in his face, which doesn't work very well with other pea shooters because he'll freeze you and you don't do so well. So I went through, I got that, and then I said, you know what? I've got a ton of money from everything else I had done, so I knocked it out. I used 1 achievement yesterday, and I used the last 2 achievements I needed today. So more on that later. But yeah, so I'm knocking through the 90% list, and I don't know what I'm going to do next, but I do have some easy ones, so we'll see.
That's awesome.
I have some ones that are not so easy, but yeah, so I'm still chewing away at it. I haven't stopped yet.
You start with the easy ones so you feel like you're making progress, and then
yes, I
give
try
up on the
to.
harder ones.
I tell you, I was hating life doing looking for treasure yetis and also for hunting bosses in Blast and Bunnies. It was so annoying to do 2 things that were random number generation. I was at the whim of the RNG. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to do some things that are definite things I can knock out and not have to wait to see if it's going to show up.
All right. Well, much like our nights have been going, Elle and I have been ending mostly for fun and not achievement, so we'll end the showcase with that. But first, do you have anything else, Michelle, that you'd like to share?
I do. I just want to talk super briefly about HyperDot. So, as you know, Devin and I sometimes do a segment about Game Pass games, and HyperDot's one I've kind of sort of been interested in, but he already started it, so that's not a good candidate for the segment. So I started it because I haven't really been playing for achievements, and I needed something new so I can also make progress on a certain TA competition that's going right now. HyperDot, if you haven't played it, is a twin stick shooter kind of with no shooting. Or a bullet hell where all you're doing is dodging. You don't actually fire. The game is made up of a whole bunch of short stages. Sometimes they're 10 seconds, sometimes they're 25 seconds, where you have to either survive a certain amount of time or sit in a certain circle for a certain amount of time. And that's most of the gameplay. I like HyperDot, but like every game of this type, I really want to be good at it, and I'm just not. It makes me terribly depressed every time I play. So there's one achievement to survive for 45 seconds on the classic mode of the game. 43 seconds every single time. Just cannot make it those last 2 seconds because I'm not very good at it. But if you are into these sort of bullet hell type games, it's very easy to play. It's very minimalistic, but I had one other little achievement side note for it. So I started it last night on my one. It is a Game Pass game. It is Game Pass for PC and Game Pass on the console. So I started it on the one last night. I thought I would have all this free time at work today, so I brought my Surface there and had no free time. So I came home and played it really quick. And as soon as I booted it up, I had only gotten up to stage 11 yesterday, but it gave me the stage 25 achievement. Don't know why. But just putting that out there.
You don't know why, eh?
I don't know why.
Go ahead, Corey.
I'm trying to find the episode number, but we did talk there. So yeah, HyperDot has an exploit in it, and It doesn't seem to be known the exact.
I have listened to every episode. I must have just I try not to exploit these cheats, so I probably just pushed it out of my brain.
Yeah, like I don't think there's any rhyme or reason to it. We don't think people know exactly how to unlock the achievements they want to unlock, but it seems to be, if I recall correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, Koosh, you want to unlock as little amount of achievement as possible on the one platform and then switch over to the next one and then keep going like that, because each time you have to sync up, it like will unlock a random achievement or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's when you play on two different systems, like an Xbox and the PC, and you flip-flop between them. As you do that, randomly achievements will pop.
Do we want to try this live? Because I could just boot it up on my one now and let you know what happens. I earned 1 achievement yesterday and 2 achievements today, in line with a certain TA competition. Should I try it out?
I'm not sure if you have to earn a new achievement to get it to pop on the other. Or I don't know.
As soon as I booted it up, it popped an achievement today.
Because I'm only playing it on the PC because I didn't want to. I'm actually enjoying the challenge of it.
I like the game a lot. It's fun.
I know.
I'm enjoying it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a fun game.
The stages are bite size, so
exactly.
it doesn't feel like this. Like, I know they're very specific achievements related to setting certain stages with a certain size play field and with the dark version on or whatever else. But the core of the game is, I don't know, 60 stages or 100 stages, however many it is, that are just these little bite-sized mini stages. And it actually is like, you feel like you can jump in, play 5 levels and jump out. And that's really pretty perfect for the way that my attention span has been for games lately.
And that's actually a good point, how you were mentioning that, like, you have to set different things like the size, the light mode, and all that fun stuff. And the description in the achievement is not helpful. Like, it's misleading.
Oh, it's not?
No,
really?
The descriptions in the, saying, hey, do it on this, this, and this, it's a little bit misleading. But if you look at the solutions for those achievements, people have told you exactly what you need to set it as.
Okay.
And also, if you're having, you hit that time and it doesn't work, you need to go back like to the main menu and then. So every time you clear a level where you have to set the settings, go back home, go back in from start, so that you're not, for whatever reason, it was a little bit glitchy like that. But yeah.
Yeah. TA's page for it even has a flag on the main page that says, this game is known to be buggy. Oh, I just got 50 levels, guys. So switching back to my one, I did very well. I will play it, though. Like, I actually do like it. I'm not going to continue to exploit this. This was for science. But it does say that it's known to be buggy, and the achievement progress may not track. The achievements may not unlock at all. Or, in my case, they may unlock early. But the tracking on the game is also really good, too. So there are several achievements for collecting a certain number of power-ups or tokens. Everything is tracked, so it's nice and easy to follow. As a Game Pass game, I wouldn't pay $20 for this. That's steep, because the game isn't that deep. For Game Pass, it's perfect.
Started to rhyme there. Well, if you are curious about it, it was talked about in level 94. You can skip right to the end. Mr. Pale of Waka Ascendants talked about it for G-Task. So I'm sure all those little...
He would never use an exploit.
Oh, he wouldn't.
Never. He's a delightful gentleman. He's not a console command video guide using cheater like some other people.
On TA, I have 39 friends who've played this game, and of that number, 15 have completed it. So it's certainly completable. It's definitely got a ratio that's misleading because of the Game Pass bump. And it's estimated at a 5 to 6 hour completion. Given that it took me 4 times the completion estimate to complete Black the Fall, I imagine it'll take me like 20 or so. But it's definitely doable.
I've completed the most difficult achievement, apparently, by the TA ratio.
Which one is
so
that?
Everything else should be doable.
Which achievement is the most difficult one?
Most difficult is to survive for 25 seconds in lateral with only arena size small.
So that's one of those where you have to set some modifiers to have it a certain way. But is the description correct in that case, or should I look at the
I don't think the description's correct. Yeah, I just don't even trust the descriptions.
Okay,
I went straight through and
solutions.
just check out the solutions and you're golden.
All right. And check out level 94 to hear Waka's take on the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's end the game showcase talking about a little bit of fun. that we've been having. Elle, tell me about some fun you've had.
Fun.
Fun, the F word, the big F.
Well, as we left last week with Tony Hawk, I had finished the first game, and shortly after recording last week, I finished the second game. And as I suspected, once I completed all the objectives, I kind of lost interest a little bit. But I have been playing most days. I missed only one day of playing. So what I was doing is I decided to just go to the next skater and go for all the stat points. And then I believe you told me that I should use my create a skater and do all those challenges and go for the bail videos. I think it was you in your infinite wisdom. So those stat points are actually in different places for the create a skater, so that was interesting. Usually they're all in the same place always, and they're static. With that said, I'm currently at 21 of 36 achievements in Tony Hawk, but there are some multiplayer achievements, and we got a nice group together last night to play some Tony Hawk multiplayer. You can have up to 8 people, and Corey finally got his multiplayer working. So,
Ish.
do you ever figure out how that happened, or was it just magic?
It seems to be magic. I had the inclination to just leave the game running because I did see the party thing pop up once before, and my issue is not multiplayer. It's with the party system. It just never signs me in, so I can't log in and see friends or anything like that. And I saw that one time, so I just said, let me leave the game running, and I checked back on it in a few hours, and it was there. And so I said, I'm not closing this game until I play some Tony Hawk party session. So all day long, Tony Hawk was running on my machine, and it stayed there. So I kind of lucked out with that.
Yeah, what you need to do when you get the Series X is, since you can keep the game save going, just keep it going. Never turn it off.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So how many people did we have last night? We had Michelle, we had Mr. Rakadud and me and Vulgar. And then we had some special guests like MDP and a certain ringer named Ahizo, who I hate to give any sort of credit to or talk positively about, but he is really freaking good at that game, to the point where he was making it unfun for some stages because you have to get 150,000 and he would have that done within 5 seconds. And on to the next thing.
It wasn't unfun.
Yeah, it was not to
talk about it.
It's not his fault. It's what you're supposed to do. Just to finish in 5 seconds, and you got to wait the 30 seconds for the next game to start. That's the only thing.
Yeah, and so not to talk about it in nauseum because we did that last week. We'll talk about the multiplayer part of it, because that is kind of a new thing that we did experience this week. And multiplayer in Tony Hawk right now, because I think they are working on updates. You can either play what they call the jam mode or the competitive mode. They're the exact same thing. I don't even think you get ranked in competitive. It's just, I guess, puts you in a lobby with people who are trying to be really, really good.
Right.
And that's up to 8 players. And when you're in a party with friends, you, like Elle said, you can get up to 8. So you can actually lock down your own lobby. Unfortunately, you can't pick what you want to do. You just get thrown into a stage, and you go through all of the multiplayer, I guess, games or modes, and then you move on to the next stage, and you have no control over that. So it happened a couple times when we backed out and we brought in somebody else to the party, and we'd go back into multiplayer and we'd have a repeat stage. So that could use some updating. And then additionally, as far as the game modes go, as long as you can combo, you'll be pretty solid. There's a who can get to this score the quickest using any number of tricks, who can get to the score the quickest using one combo, and then obviously the highest scores in both of those methods, and then a graffiti mode. I was a little sad to learn there wasn't a horse mode in online. That is apparently
what about that?
Set to local. I can only assume that it's because horse is kind of slow going. You have to wait for somebody to do their thing, and if it's 8 people. Yeah.
So can you explain what the horse mode is? Because you guys mentioned it last week, but I wasn't sure what that actually was.
Do you know how it works in basketball?
Yeah, so one person says, I'm going to shoot the ball from here, and the second person copies that, and then they kind of add to it until eventually people can't copy you anymore.
Yeah, it's basically you get 10,000 points in a combo, then the other person has to do better than that, or they get a letter.
Okay.
It's just a score related.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with what you do. It's all about score.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the skate games, I think you actually had to nail the trick. That was pretty cool. But this one is just score. So yeah, multiplayer is fun. I imagine we will do it again. I definitely want to. There's always stuff that you're grinding towards, getting XP and stuff. So it's not like for nothing.
It was pretty perfect during Monday Night Football. I had on the laptop, and it was a pretty perfect Monday night game. So if anyone's interested, I think we would do it again.
Yeah, I'm up for it. Yeah.
Any other quality of life besides picking, maybe voting on a stage to play?
I want to see maybe some more modes. I don't know what those would be yet, but that would be good. Picking the stage, obviously, and then
What if they gave you 2 minutes to get as many objectives as possible, like the normal story stages?
I would like that. They already have that baked into the game. And when you do multiplayer, it's the when you do skate tours, you have Tony Hawk 1, Tony Hawk 2, and you have like the whatever the other one is.
Oh, is that single session?
Yeah, some kind of like, I think it says ranked, but I don't think you get a rank. Each stage and across the two games have two modes. Whatever I think it's whatever score you can get in the amount of time, and then that's tracked, and then how fast you can complete all the goals. That would be pretty fun to do with other people. And if you think it's like Calamity when you get other people in the stage, it's not really. There's no collision on, and so yeah, that would be amazing. I would love to see that in multiplayer. Good call.
So I'm thinking I'm going to be a little politely contrarian. First, Koosh, are you okay?
Oh yeah, I'm okay. I have not played this game.
Did you play it at all, like in your younger years?
I've played some skate games, but I used to, actually skateboard. So when it came to playing a skateboarding game, yeah, I'm an old guy. So imagine like
so
little me doing crazy stuff like that. Yeah, I was into that. I was into freestyle bikes as well. So I did a whole bunch of that stuff when I was growing up. But yeah, when it came to video games, like the games just weren't great, or they just didn't hook me at the time. And I think, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I was looking back, I think last week when you guys were, gushing about this game. I think I have 14 achievements in all skating games. So I'm not a big skateboarding game guy, even though I own them. And I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like fun. I never in actuality go and play those games. So.
Okay. So as Elle mentioned last week, I had never played Tony Hawk before. I've watched Elle play some of the one that's a little bit more like objective based. I always forget which one that is. I apologize, Elle.
American Wasteland.
Okay, so I've seen Elle play a little bit of that, and I think a little bit of maybe Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD, which apparently was like a terrible, HD game.
Okay,
so,
maybe.
My experience with Tony Hawk as a player is nil. My takeaway is the game is good at what it does, but man, are the nostalgia goggles strong. Super strong. I get the feeling if the game was given to review to a bunch of people who are like me's, it would still do well, but it wouldn't be this like solid 9s across the board. Everyone should go purchase this for $40 because, hey, at least it's not $60. So that's not to disparage Tony Hawk, because it is good. But as someone coming at it as a new player, I didn't find the multiplayer fun because I pressed the A button and the round was over. So it feels a little bit inaccessible to someone like me. So I'm not saying this to counter your points per se, because our levels of experience are different. So we're coming at it from a different point of view. So more to say that if you are somebody listening to this who has never played a Tony Hawk game before, get in there and play it and learn how to play it. And eventually I think you're going to be awesome at it and you're really, really, really going to enjoy it. But all the folks that are gushing about it have it imprinted in their brains where all the skate letters are and where all the secret tapes are, and that whole learning process that takes time and is a little bit frustrating at times is not there for them. So just be mindful of that before you jump into the game. Still fun, still worth playing, probably not worth $40 to a newcomer, but definitely something I would encourage you to experience at some point, because all the right notes are there, but it does have a learning curve. It is not as easy as go in and press. I can't tell you how many times I hear in multiplayer, oh, you just button mash. Oh, really? Because I do that and I just wind up falling on my face. It's because I don't know how to play yet. So just keep that in mind. Great game. A little bit of a learning curve for a newbie.
Yeah, you might be better served playing American Wasteland. So instead of getting do you feel overwhelmed seeing that list of like 10 or 12 objectives in normal play?
No, I don't feel overwhelmed by the normal play. Like you guys mentioned last week, you can turn on modifiers, and I actually made a point when I started playing to not use those modifiers, because once you turn them on, especially if you're a new player, they're a big crutch. But again, for you guys who've played this before, you jump right in and it's just like bing, 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 and it's done. For someone like me, it took 7 or 8 runs of the warehouse just to even see where everything was before actually going. Like, it took me a long time to get that 5th fire hydrant because I couldn't move fast enough to get there, because I didn't know how to build up special. Because when people say, oh, just do a manual, that means literally nothing to me, because I didn't play it years ago when the game didn't even have a manual in it until later iterations of the game. So you figure it out. And again, it is fun. Like, I definitely enjoy playing it, but I enjoy playing it like a half hour at a time until my frustration meter fills up, and then I have to like put it aside and move to something else. And each time I play it, I do a little bit better. So I went from doing a combo that I got like 1,200 points to I can get a 16,000 point combo going. But when a Heizo's in a multiplayer game getting a 1.2 million combo, it's a little overwhelming for a brand new player to the game.
I could see that, and that's not where the multiplayer shines for sure. And I could almost say the same thing about any multiplayer. There's always going to be ringers out there.
Mm-hmm. The difference is the ringers in this game have 20-some years of like background in their brains about it, versus like it's only been out of a week and it's new for everybody. So we're all learning it at the same time, and some people just have more time to put into it.
True. Any final thoughts from anybody at all? All right, perfect.
Well, speaking of, wait a minute.
Yes.
I was going to say, speaking of a Heizo being a ringer, we also played some Rocket League afterwards. And I could confidently say that he sucks at that game.
Heizo or Chip?
Chip is as bad at Rocket League as he is in social circumstances, so he's just really bad.
Koosh, you need to get into these Rocket League games with us at some point.
Well, yeah, I will, because it's on my 90% list, but
you don't have to be good. Don't worry.
I don't want to drag people down
No,
from playing the game to just help me get my achievements.
People have literally just started the game and joined to play. So what we do, if you're not familiar with Rocket League, you can play with up to 8 people in a party, and it's teams of 4 versus 4. So what we will do is we'll all get into a party. It's just a standard 4v4 game. And once the game is ready, everyone just presses auto. So it automatically assigns you to a team. So the teams keep getting reformed. So you don't wind up having a team that's like Prue and Corey versus me and my brother, because that would be a slaughter. Ideally, we want stuff to be more evened out. And it's worked out every time. There have been like 1 or 2 games where a team got killed, but otherwise they've been close games. They go into overtime and everyone just has a blast playing. So don't worry about your lack of experience with the game.
I'm not worried about that. I'm okay at the game. It's just,
okay.
It's just, I don't want to drag everyone down in terms of me saying, hey guys, no, you need to form a tourney for me to get my 1 achievement or my 2 achievements, when you guys really just want to go and play the game and laugh and stuff.
I mean, that could be a separate
Yeah, but we
thing.
can help you with that. Yeah. And then we'll just keep playing for fun afterwards.
Fufu is so bad at the game that he was just running into us and trying to kill us instead of trying to score, because he's just awful.
Kenny plays the game like it's bumper cars, so he just looks for who he can destroy. And then Heizo picked up Kenny's bad habits. So,
but it was nice playing with the Heizo and MDP. That was cool.
Definitely.
Well, all right, that will do it for the game showcase. So let's move on to some news. Like I said at the top of the show, like all good podcasts, we recorded last week only to be outdone by some of the biggest news of the year dropping the next day. and that would be a leak and then an official announcement of the Xbox Series S reveal and price point and eventually specs. So the Xbox Series S is the little cousin to the upcoming Series X that we have been hearing about for the better part of this year, or actually since last year, and it is going to come in at a price of $299 US American dollars. Now, this is pretty unprecedented. It's the smallest Xbox ever made. It is more powerful than the current generation, as you might expect. And it has some same features of the Xbox Series X even. Pretty much the differences are that it has half the storage size, so a 512 gigabyte NVMe drive. It has the expansion slot, so you can expand it. It has a very similar CPU, obviously not as good of a GPU, but it's still a very good GPU. It is capable of doing 120 frames per second, 144p, or 1440p, excuse me, I believe, which is really good, probably better than anything that you're going to be able to see on your monitors anyways. And so it really is kind of like the best deal I've probably have ever seen in gaming. I can't remember some of those early days. I wasn't an adult and spent my own money, but as an adult, this is extremely good of a deal. Is there anything that you guys want to mention on the specs before I talk a little bit more about the price?
There are lots of numbers, and I don't understand what any of them mean. That said, the X is very powerful. I mean, that's what we know, right? Like, video game consoles have always been kind of like a souped-up PC just for your gaming needs. And Digital Foundry, right, Nate? That's what you were talking about before?
Yep, Digital Foundry.
Yeah,
wait for them.
They're eventually going to release a whole bunch of videos that show us the S versus the X versus the PS5, and that's really where, for those of us who are laymen about these numbers, we're going to actually see these differences. So I'm more excited for that end, because 12 teraflops versus 4 teraflops, I know one is 3 times greater than the other, but I don't actually know what's that going to do to my experience with the game when all is said and done.
Yeah, I think as far as the hardware goes, the important numbers to read are that the S has half of the drive space as the X. So if you are going to be playing those games that require that fancy memory, you're only going to be able to have so many of them, and you're going to have to assume that they're larger because they're supporting, better graphics and such. You're going to want the X if you're going to have a lot of those games versus the S, because you're going to have to just be swapping the games in and out of drive space in order to be able to play them. And then also, I think Corey mentioned it, that the graphics power of the S is not as high as the X. So if you don't have a, top of the line TV or gaming monitor, maybe the S is perfect for you.
Yep. Another thing to note that I didn't mention is that the S is all digital. There is no disk drive. So that's obviously a factor. I don't know if it's as big of a factor as it used to be. I have a collection of maybe 20 physical games. I actually was considering kind of getting an S because of how cheap it is, and kind of just saying goodbye to them, even though some of them are in their fancy plastic wrap still. So that is obviously another factor in it.
I think there was some other confusion between the two, because it was noted somewhere that backwards compatibility would be different between the Series S and the Series X, but it really just had something to do with how they would look. Not that different games would be available, but the way they might be upscaled would vary depending on the console. And
Right.
Oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say, if I understand it correctly, so you know how we have the Xbox One X and it has its own enhancements, right? The Xbox Series S won't be able to run. I don't know if it won't be able to run is the right terminology. It won't run the Xbox One X enhancements. So as far as like a downplay goes, I don't know if that's really true. We kind of have to wait for those specific like Digital Foundry tests to see. But it is in terms of that. It can't play or it won't play the One X enhancements on the Series S.
Well, and I wonder how much of that is, to your point earlier, Corey, like if you don't have the right monitor for it, will that difference be noticeable? And how many of these things are really only noticeable when you're watching the Digital Foundry side by side versus things you would actually recognize when you're playing one way or the other?
Right, yeah. I think if you are rocking an OG X1 or even an S, I think the Series S is probably a fantastic upgrade all around. Now the X, the One X to the Series S, I think there is benefits to that upgrade. I don't know if you would see it as much, and that statement that we just talked about is the only one that's really convincing me to like. I just need to hold off. Get the Series X. Don't go from a 1X to an S. Just go from a 1X to an X.
Well, another thing to consider is the form factor. The S is smaller than like a current day S. So if you, for whatever reason, the way you store it, if you have to store it lying flat and you don't have a foot of clearance in your entertainment center, then maybe you want to think about that S over the X. Maybe that's another factor you have to take into play. But I was looking at my entertainment center today. Once I looked up the stats, the X is going to be 12 inches tall and 6 inches wide and 6 inches deep. So just making sure that you have that room set aside in your entertainment center may be an issue.
I know people who travel a lot for work or whatever and will pack a game console. They have like a games case with a screen or whatever else. So if portability maybe is a thing, it's obviously going to be easier to carry an S and less expensive. So if heaven forbid something happens to it, you're not out quite as much as you would be otherwise. But I don't think you mentioned the prices yet, right?
No, not yet. And so that's I did mention like the first price of the S, but it is just a conversation in and of itself. The S will be $300 US, 250 pounds, and then whatever conversion for other countries. While that is super super cheap, and I'm saying like these, some of these are a little different. I'm not a PC gamer, but I am in the PC gaming world or adjacent to it, and so like these fancy 3000 series RTX cards were just revealed. The cheapest one is like maybe $450 for a graphics card, and you're getting all of this stuff, which this is obviously custom stuff, but I think it will rival those graphics cards because, like I said, the Series S, the lowest next gen console is doing 1440p at 60 frames per second, up to 120 frames per second, and that's just bonkers, even on good graphics cards today. And so this price point of $300 is ridiculous when you compare it to that. But while as cheap as it is like there are hard times where people can't just drop $300 right now. And not to say that Microsoft did this on a whim. This had to have been in the works since probably the One X because they kind of did it then. There's an all access program. This all access program lets you get an Xbox Series S for $25 a month, an Xbox Series X for $35 a month. And while you're thinking that these Rent-A-Center type programs are bad deals, they typically are. This actually comes out on top. When you do the math, you are getting the system and the game, as well as Game Pass Ultimate for 2 years. And I don't have the numbers in front of me. I think it's maybe like 60 for the S and 20 for the X, cheaper than what you'd be paying for these services outright with the consoles that you will own in 2 years. You It's not like you're borrowing or renting it. You will own it at that point. And Game Pass Ultimate just kind of upgraded itself, and you're getting all of that for 2 years. And I'm talking xCloud, and it included EA Play, which used to be called EA Access. All of that is included for this at a very low monthly cost. Do you have any other details about that, Nate?
I do. Yeah, it's a 24-month lease type issue. You cannot use just your credit card. You have to use the approved creditor for your location. So in the U.S., that's going to be somebody. I can't remember who.
Is it Citibank?
I think it is Citibank. Yeah, it's Citizens One. You have to go through their line of credit, which is owned by Citizens Bank. And of course, if you're in the UK or Australia or New Zealand, you have to use whatever, the equivalent is there, and you have no choice over that. But at least in the US, the financing through Citizens One says that there's no application fee, no annual fee, no late fees, no early repayment fees. And however, if you are late on payments, they're going to report it to the credit bureau. I suggest you don't do that. If you are going to go through this option, pay on time is what I would recommend, even if they're not going to charge you extra for it. But it's pretty cool that it doesn't seem like you're going to be, charged interest as you're getting this. So as far as being able to pick this up, it used to be just Microsoft stores is the only place you could do this all access before they were no longer a thing. Now they are partnering, at least in the US, with Best Buy, Walmart, Target, and I think they're going to be partnering with Amazon. Currently, Amazon doesn't have a page up for it yet. In the UK, they're partnering with Game and Smith's Toys, and in Australia and New Zealand, it's Telstra, which I've never heard of.
So you said there's no early repayment issue. So you could conceivably sign up for this, get approved for the line of credit, and just pay the whole thing down. Because that's I'm that way with phones too, right? Like if I get a new phone, like I need to pay that whole thing up front. I don't like having incremental things. Is that something you could do in this case and also enjoy the benefit of the lower cost? Or are you going to have to make 24 monthly recurring payments?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to buy it outright. So I haven't really.
That's where I'm headed out too.
Yeah, because I'm already locked into my Xbox Ultimate until sometime at the end of 2021. This doesn't really help me much. So I don't know about those weird kind of edge cases. Like, can I do the $25 a month, but then just pay it all off because I hit the lottery or whatever, or I'm just being sneaky. I don't know if they allow you to do that. I do know that based off of the wordage that I saw, they're not going to charge you more if you do that. So maybe they're okay with it.
Maybe. I mean, I think this whole, were you done there? I don't want to go off on a tangent if you were.
That was it.
So this whole thing with the Xbox Series X and the Series S is interesting because, right, the underlying story here too, though, is that anything when these consoles come out is still coming out for your Xbox One, right? Your Xbox One X. Like there's no content coming out on November 10th, right, is the release date, that you can't play on consoles you already own. But they haven't said anything about what this is going to do to the price of the consoles that are already out there, because you have to imagine that they would decrease those prices too, right, in accordance with these new consoles coming out. And if you're a buyer and you can get all the same games on the previous hardware, does this seem like it might be a little counterproductive for Microsoft? That people might, if somebody doesn't own an Xbox currently, they'll be like, oh, well, I can buy this one for $200 and it works, and they won't buy into the new console generation?
Well, I mean, I think Microsoft really only cares about selling you Game Pass Ultimate.
I agree.
When it comes down to it. So if you buy the cheaper console now, keep in mind at least it used to be that the all access would allow you to upgrade from your one, I think after a year, for $20, you could upgrade to the newer console.
Right.
So yeah, I don't think they really care. And if the games that are only going to be playable on the X and the Series S are a couple years out, maybe. I mean, maybe that's better for you. I don't really know what to say.
Right, it's just a question for discussion. I'm obviously buying in day one because, I don't know better. But, I'm curious what that might do for all that, because there's got to be some bigger picture thinking going on, because it's Xbox's market share is still a significantly smaller portion of the video game market than it was when we went from 360 to Xbox One. And I imagine just Game Pass is obviously the big seller. That's where they're headed. But we still don't know what Sony's counter move is yet, right? Like, they still haven't announced anything price-wise. We've just seen the giant image of their giant console.
Funny that you should mention that, because we are going to get podcasted, and tomorrow they're going to announce that.
Oh, no. So what do you think we're going to see?
I think we're going to see a price. I think we're going to see a whole bunch of fun stuff like that.
Well, what kind of price do you think they might? Do you think they're going to match the?
I think their digital will be comparable. I think that their
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't think they can go that low.
I think they're all digital will be comparable, somewhere in the middle of the two.
We never got any specs on it, right? Because as far as I know, it's a PS5 without a disc drive.
Yeah.
The same. Otherwise, it's the same specs. I don't think they could go as low as $300.
They'd be losing a lot of money per console if they cut it that deep. Do you see them like putting the PS5 out for like $450 just to, or whatever it is, just to undercut? Like, because we talked about this a little bit before recording, so obviously in different times this all would have been announced at E3, right? We would have known already, because at the big show they're going to make those announcements. Now both companies have kind of been playing a game of marketing chicken with each other to see who's going to jump first, and Microsoft did. So do you think Sony's they have a bigger part of the market share? They do have more of those original IPs that people want. So, so it's said out there. Do you think they're just going to hold their ground at whatever was before? Or do you think they are going to respond to Microsoft's price points?
In my fantasy world, they're going to match the price, and then Microsoft will be like, you got us. We're going to give it to you for $50 cheaper. And I'm just going to be laughing.
Okay.
That's my fantasy world.
What do you think, Corey?
I guess I would hate to see it be undercut. I just don't think it's a realistic thing. I don't. While not knowing everything that goes on in the PlayStation world, I try to keep an eye on it, and I know that they've had some manufacturing problems, and then there's obviously COVID, and I've heard that they're trying to pay more to fly more systems in because there's, I guess, a shortage than what they originally wanted. And so I just don't know if they could do the undercut. And actually, I really hope it doesn't happen. So I think that their big boy will have to match. They surely they know they can't go higher. Their digital edition, that one's kind of up in the air. If it is the same guts as the true PlayStation 5, then I could see maybe $50 cheaper there. 100 sounds more like marketable. But I definitely don't see them putting out a $300 console.
What do you think, Al? You have any opinion on this topic at all? Or is it just that once everything's said and done, you're purchasing a new Xbox at some point and that's it?
I think it's now or never to get a PlayStation Vita. All right. No, I think that they're going to make it the same price also. And then the poor saps at GameStop have to try to explain to the moms which one's better and why.
Do you think the poor saps at GameStop do that? Like,
Yes.
I didn't work at a GameStop, but as an Xbox owner, the thing I'm going to try to put over to somebody purchasing something is an Xbox, because that's what I play and enjoy and what I know and what I can more effectively sell. Because a PlayStation comes down to, well, it has God of War, and I hear that's pretty good. Like, do you really think like they take the time to educate themselves on the different consoles and the specs and the in and outs, or they just say, this is what I have at home, so you'll probably enjoy that too?
There's definitely no education going on there.
like they tell you about what they know.
It's so easy to sell an Xbox with a Game Pass subscription, and if you already had it previously, guess what? All your controllers work, all your peripherals probably work. With the PlayStation, you're starting over again. You have to buy new games and more controllers. Like, yeah, I don't think they would ever sell Xbox. And you know what? It's funny to think about going to an Xbox or going to a GameStop, getting an Xbox with all access with 2 years of Game Pass, and like, thanks for the console. I'll never use your store again. I don't have to. But I don't know. From my experiences, they're not educated employees enough to to do that. Even to make an argument for both cases, they always seem to stick to one, and it's usually not Xbox. All right. Well, I do look forward to the PlayStation event that will happen at this point. A couple of days ago, when the podcast came out, we will be sure to talk about that next week, and just to get a little taste of what they gave us. Moving on, let's talk about some sales. I don't have anything. I'm going to be the foo-foo of the episode. I'll talk about some new Game Pass stuff. But, Elle, did you see anything on the sales list this week?
No. I thought it was very weak sale.
It was a weak week for sales.
I think so, yeah. But I'm sure Nate will figure something out.
Yeah, I saw some things. Hovership Havoc, I believe Kenny talked about that before. It's $5 down from $10. It's a shmup, so I'm interested. It's 30 achievements. More on why that's important later. And it's 2,436 TA, although people have completed it, so it is doable if you like shmups. Knee Deep is $4.50, not $450, as I have a typo here, out of $15, where it used to be $15. It is a visual novel. It's 6 to 8 hours. It has a walkthrough, and it has 43 achievements. You might want to keep this in mind for later. Mecho Tales, $1 down from $5. It's a run-and-gun, 2 to 3 hours with 11 achievements. That's worth 2 days of a particular contest. Plague Road, $2 down from $10. It is a strategy turn-based game. It's 10 to 12 hours. And I know that Mecho Tales and Plague Road are from the same developer publisher, and they normally come out in combo deals. I don't know that there's a package deal for them this time, but $3 for these two games is, that's kind of hard to not look at.
Yeah, I want Mecho Tales. It's $1. You can play that on a computer too, right?
I'm not sure about that.
Just say yes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
yes.
What's this Ailment game? That's a 0 to 1 hour, $6.50.
It's a twin stick shooter, super easy. I guess it's a twin stick shooter. You're walking around and shooting stuff.
How many sticks are you using?
And yes, Mecho Tales is play anywhere.
All right.
Michelle, anything for you, or did Elle put these on your list?
No, I put one game on my list, and that's because I've heard you guys speaking about it before, and that's Oceanhorn, Monster of Uncharted Seas. It is currently $6.74, marked down from $15. I listened to Koosh talk recently about how he finally finished fishing for everything and got the game done. And Corey, this would be a 90% entry for you if you wanted to get back into it. I'm not doing well right now playing and focusing on stuff that's new. A lot of it's been kind of dive in, dive out, and I go back to the same kind of comfort food style games, and it seems like this might have some of that quality, and at that kind of discount it seems okay. Now, you both have played it. Is that a fair price, or would you recommend still avoiding?
Oh no, that's excellent. I second your recommendation.
Yep, it's a good price. I wouldn't have paid $15 on a phone to play it, but $7 on a console for sure. I mean, for at that time, a Zelda clone on the Xbox, that's a fantastic price. There are new games out now that probably do Zelda better. Well, definitely do Zelda better than Oceanhorn, but yeah, that's a great price.
All right, and going on to the Game Pass stuff.
Some of these games are Game Passed.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah. So for the additions, we have Hot Shot Racing. This is a brand new game. It just came day one to Game Pass. That is on the console. Stranger Things 3 is now on the console. Previously, it was only on the PC Game Pass. And the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics is on console and PC Game Pass. Returning is Black Desert. So that is an MMO. And if you started that before on Game Pass, well, it is back for you to continue. Coming soon, we have Company of Heroes 2 on PC, Destiny 2, Shadow, Keep, and Forsaken expansion. So this is everything that is out on Destiny. You won't have to pay anything for it if you are on Game Pass. And that will also be on xCloud, so you can do Android and console. And just a good thing to note, Destiny has those timed events. Maybe somebody is selling something only for today, only for this weekend, pop on your phone, especially if you're out of town, get what you need done and go. But that is coming. That's a big one, personally for me. Halo 3 ODST is now on the PC Master Chief Collection, and I guess it will be xCloud 2.
That's how it...
Question mark?
It seems like that's when Xbox tweets out or posts Game Pass updates, when they include Android as one of the console options, it's implying that it's an xCloud.
All right, so there we go. Halo 3 on your phone. Additionally, we have Night in the Woods. That's coming soon to xCloud, console, PC, and Warhammer Vermintide 2 as well. Leaving, so this is the Game Pass section. We have Bad North, Dirt Rally 2.0, Dishonored 2, and Ukulele, and then Westorado, double-barreled. I am personally going to be revisiting Westorado. That game is very good. I recommend that you take some time in the next 2 weeks. I think you have till the end of September, and check out Westorado. And if it leaves, I'll be happy paying these devs the money for this. So yeah.
Yeah. I uninstalled GoNNER and I installed Bad North. So that's my next short term. Yep.
To be honest, though, Bad North is probably better than regular North.
Yeah.
So you do have that.
It's not so bad North. You're right.
Contest. We have some contests wrapping up and starting and ongoing. So we have P-Tart's annual birthday bash challenge 2020 edition. That is officially over. First place went to Crazy. They got 39,500 gamer score in 1 week. So that's pretty crazy. Fifth place, so if you recall, she gives prizes out based off placement in the leaderboard. So it's not all like one person gets everything, or you have to be super competitive. You can kind of strategically try to place in these to win. And so fifth place was a prize, and that went to Kitty Skies and Novatod. They scored the same amount of gamer score. Eighth place went to Redemption, and then 35th place, Laos Domini was that winner. Gamertag Challenge, Nate, why don't you let us know how the month of September is going?
Just want to mention that next year, I think we should all tie for fifth place. Everybody. Everybody in the contest go for fifth.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm fine with this strategy.
Poor Sarah.
Yeah, she'll never know. Gamertag Challenge this month is September, and our gamertag is Hatton90. He has chosen any game in the Forza Horizon series because that is the best side of the Forza series. And that other side doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned. In the bonus, we're talking sporting chance. Any achievement containing sporting gear as a word in the title, example, ball, bat, 1 per game. So if you have a game that has a whole bunch of sports equipment, you only get one of those. And for the bonus, we're talking about the Hatton trick. It's linking to a leaderboard where you are in the top 10. It needs to be at the end of the month. So you can't just, float at the beginning of the month and think you're good. Just make sure at the end of the month that you're in the top 10. And it can be as specific as you need it to be. If that, falls to combined genres or certain locations, whatever, be like Hatton and get yourself high on a leaderboard.
Now, is that
one?
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, I forgot to mention that's worth 5 draws, and you can only do that one time. So make it fun.
So is that just for leaderboards that you would have to select and track on TA, or would that include a game leaderboard? So if you're one of the top 10 completers for a game, you're on that list, so that's okay.
Nah, this is just for regular old leaderboards, not for user leaderboards, and not for any of those deaths in Black the Fall or anything.
Okay.
Well, it is that time of year again, and we have an official TA competition that has just started up. So we got the reminder last week, and we registered. And starting the beginning of this week was Leapfrog. This year, Leapfrog is a little different. You need to earn an achievement on day 1, and then each day after that, you have to earn an additional achievement. So the badge this year is for completing 10 days worth without missing a day. So that's going to be 55 achievements in total on the 10th day. With that 10th day, you have to get at least 10 achievements. You get it. It's easy enough. So good luck to everybody who is in that. I look forward to seeing how crazy the community gets past the badge day.
It just one clarification with that in case people weren't aware. If you earn 4 achievements on day 2, you still only need to earn 3 achievements on day 3. So it's not relative to what you've earned. It's just the number of days that the contest is up to.
Correct. Yeah, just a static number that you'll have to get. Overachievers, you can do whatever you want.
And the winner gets a month of TA Pro for as many months as 1 month for each day that they last. Yeah, in the competition. That's going to be a lot.
Oh, interesting.
For that one person, yep.
Yeah.
That one
probably
soul.
be well over 100, I imagine.
I enjoy in these contests, though, seeing how many people within our community wind up being in these top numbers. So I'm excited to see who surprises us by being that guy or girl who puts in a 60-day streak or whatever it's going to wind up being. This is a good time if you haven't used those console command games to break those out.
Yeah, so I've been waiting for something just like this to make fun of other people that do it.
I have seen a couple new people into the Discord, and so if you've stumbled across the podcast or you're just kind of getting started, we do have a Discord. You should check the show notes for the link. But we have a channel specifically for TA contests. So if that is your thing, if you are going to be going strong in Leapfrog, I invite you to come to the Discord and let us cheer you on. We can help you with strategize or just chill in any other channel we have. But that is a thing.
Yeah, definitely. We have people who can carry other people through achievements and things like that. We like these community efforts to get someone we know at the top of these leaderboards.
That's right. Another channel we have in the Discord is Brag Camp. And this week we're going to start with Michelle. She's going to tell us about completions.
Proclamation boy.
Brag Camp.
All right, we've got a whole bunch of completion milestones to read here. So the Alpha Seagull has reached 40 completed games. Hat 90, not in the top 10 leaderboard, but has completed 55 games. El Sock, who was new as of last week and now is not so new, 95 completed games. Wheezy Fuzz, 150. Retro Chief 1969, 195 completed games. Mark B with 195 completed games. Philip Wendell at 255. Koosh, who's sitting right over there, he's completed 270 games. Northern Lass at 310. Bastion Reader at 335. Big L, who's also sitting over there, has 510 completed games. Mattism at 525. Triple Triad at 645. And X, the hero, tops this particular list at 735 completed games. That is a lot of completions. For completion percentage, Chesno has reached a brand new completion milestone, a completion percentage milestone of 21%. So good job, Chesno. And Elsock, he's hit a completion percentage milestone of 40%. Finally, in terms of TA ratio, Facial LaFleur has reached the very respectable TA ratio of 1.9.
Going on to my favorite thing, streaks. Officer Zero, Icefire TN, Northern Lass, Michael KV, Alex RD, Chewy on Ice, AZ Mongoose, and that's the end of that list, have all hit 10-day achievement win streaks.
Amazing.
Ben L72, it's a spectacular. Ben L72 is on 150 days worth of achievement. Enigma Gamer 77 is on 650 days. And our very own Matrarch is on 2,550 days.
She's sitting right over there.
She is.
Yeah.
Sitting right over here in my chair is me. And I'm going to talk about Achievements 1 as well. Unstoppable KD has hit 7,500 Achievements 1. Skeptical Mario, 11,500. Freaky RO, 12,500. Bastion Reader at 15,500. And then What the Fug at 17,000 Achievements 1. Not to be outdone by NBA Kirkland at 26,000 achievements won.
Hashtag
Triple
page break.
Triad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sneaky
And
page break.
Triple Triad 777 at 29,000 achievements won.
In gamer score, we have the Alpha Seagull with the new milestone of 45,000 gamer score. Hat 90, 155,000. X-Lax Jester, 175,000. El Sock has reached 2 milestones of 195. But no, he's also got 200,000 gamer score. Chesno, 230 gamer score. Mr. Petart, 310,000. Fareemhole with 360,000. Matthew Hoo 430,000. MDP 73 with the 490,000. Buffs with the 500,000. The Joe Dean with the 510,000. Legohead 1977 has 600,000 gamer score. Facial LaFleur has 610,000 gamer score. Fighter X93 Chipapapa has 630,000. Wakapeil with 770,000 gamer score. And Elroy OMJ with 1,050,000 gamer score. Sorry, I forgot to pause. Elroy OMJ
Love that
Meh.
guy.
did that thing.
Oh.
In TA score, we have the Alpha Seagull with 50,000 true achievement score. I need to go pie. 220,000.
That's exactly how you say it.
Yeah, he loves that pie. Hat 90 with the 270,000. Chesno with the 290,000 TA. AZ Mongoose with the 320. Hawkeye Berry 20 with the 490,000. Wheezy Fuzz with the 610,000. I probably should have trimmed this down. Petart TX with 640,000. Matthew Hu with 660,000. Northern Lass with the 660,000. MDP 73 with the 780. Mike Pitch with the 810,000. We don't need to read this next guy. A Hyzo with 860,000, who then outdoes himself with 870,000. And Vulgar Latin with 1 million. Then comes the page break. Facial LaFleur with 1,160,000. Kingsman 2645 with the 1,220,000. We like Prue, why not? Prue with the 1,350,000. Isret 102 with the 1,440,000. Toadstyle Venom with the 1,450,000. Triple Triad 777 with the 1,470,000. X the Hero with 1,510,000 true achievement score. Wakapeil with the 1,540,000 true achievement score. And finally, Jimbot UK with the 1,790,000 true achievement score. I will be trimming that down next time.
In leaderboards, Wakapeil is now in the top 10 of the TA leaderboard for cycling. That's it. All right, I lied. Had to trim something. Mark B, if that is your real name, is now in the top 50 of the TA leaderboard for cycling, and as well top 10 England TA leaderboard for cycling. Koosh is now in the top 200 of the TA leaderboard for platformer and roguelite. Alpha Seagull's in the top 100,000 of the TA leaderboard for fighting. I Need to Go Pee is in the top 50,000 for Gamerscore leaderboard. Chesno, top 500 of the England TA leaderboard for fighting. They are doing a lot of fighting over in that Chewy's challenge, I gotta say. And the Alpha Seagull in the top 2,000 of the New York TA leaderboard for action adventure. Wow, that's amazing.
All right, we are done. Another episode in the books. If you forgot where to find us, we are on all the places: Twitch, Twitter, Discord, Patreon if you want to support us financially. I just want to highlight Twitch real quick. We are still streaming at least 4 days of the week. We have a nice little It Came From Game Pass on Tuesdays, a co-op session on Wednesdays. I stream whatever on Thursdays, usually ID at Xbox games, and Fridays are Foof's Potluck, if you will. They are always fun, and if you just want to know whenever we're going live, we usually post in Discord, but you can also put the little notification bell on Twitch, and it'll tell you whenever that happens. So we hope to see you there. Oh, all right. I'm done, and I hope you are too. And with that, class is dismissed. Thank you very much.
Waka, 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 waka. Hey, you're a great crowd. Thank you, and thank you. Hey, waka, waka.
Huh? Yay!
Hello, I'm Wakapeil, giving you another Game Pass recommendation. On the 1st of April 2020, Totally Reliable Delivery Service was released day one into Game Pass. Many described it as human fall flat, but delivering packages in an open world instead of besting levels. I was intrigued and jumped headfirst into the game and completed it in 2 days with little effort. While the controls and at first movement feels similar to human fall flat, you quickly learn that Totally Reliable Delivery Service controls significantly worse. Grabbing stuff is unreliable, and the physics often go haywire, sending you, your package, and or vehicle flying at high speed in a random direction. While the player is invulnerable, the packages are not, and sometimes semi-spontaneously break as the physics engine spaz out. Most deliveries provide you with a vehicle, but you can bring your own or just make the delivery on foot, which is sometimes both faster and easier. The base game features 100 different deliveries, which grade you bronze, silver or gold depending on how fast you were, or in some cases how little damage the package sustained. The final gold-based achievement is at 30 golds, but you'll want to get to 50 to unlock the UFO, which sort of breaks the game, trivializing most of the deliveries. Golds can be challenging to get, but only a handful of the deliveries are actually difficult to do, at least on a bronze level. While playing solo provides a much more reliable and predictable experience, it is far more fun in co-op and potentially quicker. The online services are unfortunately not the most reliable, but they are considerably better today than they were at launch. Progression is handled very well among co-op participants, and most miscellaneous achievements unlock for everyone. The only achievements you have to do yourself in a co-op session is to drop your pants, fart on a biplane, and customize your character. Deliveries are tracked for everyone and can be tackled in any order. You do have to make 100 unique deliveries for what is most likely your penultimate achievement. The game has a list of all your delivery scores, and you can easily add checkpoints to find deliveries you haven't done yet. While the list is useful, it doesn't really help you geographically, and picking one of your unfinished ones often points you to the other side of the game world. The world is sprawling, but can quickly be traversed with vehicles. The game usually lets you know where the closest unfinished delivery is if you idle for a while after finishing another delivery. Totally Reliable Delivery Service has 30 additional DLC deliveries, but the DLC don't come with any extra achievements. They do, however, count for the 100 unique deliveries, making it possible to skip a few of the tougher deliveries in the main game. I've also heard only the host needs to have the DLC, and anyone who joins their game can play it. TA estimates the completion to 8 to 10 hours, but it can vary several hours in either direction depending on the skill of you or your co-op buddies. With Game Pass inflation, Totally Reliable Delivery Service has 1000 game score worth 3500 TA, with over 2000 TA earnable in around 30 minutes. I highly recommend dipping your toes into the game, as it can give you most of its achievements in very little time, but the completion requires a bit of dedication, at least unless you have someone else to do everything for you. Have a nice day, everyone!